On today's episode of Six Pack Cinema, we will be rating and reviewing Stranger Things Season 3. Netflix almost like premiere show these days. I'm excited. Sheehan's excited. You guys are excited. Let's get into this.
Dude, you should review movies.
Oh my god, yes.
Okay, I've had a couple, so movie review.
All right, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Six Pack Cinema. That is just myself and Sheehan today. Our third, Dave, is not with us. He's usually here. We usually do movies. Well, we've done some shows in the past. Today we're doing Stranger Things, which I'm guessing if you tuned in, you don't know, you never listened to Six Pack Cinema before, but you tuned in just to listen to this. We thank you for stopping by. If you're a regular listener, we thank you as always. How we do it here is we're going to talk about the season as a whole, give our gut reaction. Then we are going to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, the characters, the plot lines, all of that. And then we're going to review it on a two-pronged scale. One is popcorn out of 5, and one is critical out of 100. That's about it.
That's
Sheehan,
it.
how you doing, Sheehan?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Excited to talk about this. We had to take last week off because of scheduling.
Yep,
But
it's been crazy.
This has been, but this is one of those shows everyone's excited to talk about. I think.
Yeah,
I know I have been.
My Jake, my co-host on a lot of my other shows, he said, because he doesn't watch a lot of TV, but he tuned into Stranger Things season 1. He said it was like if you didn't watch it, you were dumb.
Yeah,
And I think it's fair because I've come around to sci-fi and opened my mind to things that I usually would just say no to right away.
Yep.
Stranger Things was like one of the first things where it was so big and everyone was like, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. When I saw what it was, I had no interest.
because it's way more than what you thought it was.
I don't really like, all the demigod and all like the upside down. Like that, I'd never watch a trailer and be like, I got to see this. But because the hype was there, then I tuned in, and then I've said this so many times. I fell in love with just the quality of the characters and the shots and the 80s setting, and that's so good for me that I enjoy the rest. But you are also a big Stranger Things fan, like from the jump as well, right?
Big time. I was probably 3 weeks behind. I really dragged my feet because I saw the trailers. I was like, that doesn't look anything like what I want to watch. But then after watching the first episode, you're like, you get hooked in because exactly what you said. It's more than just that. It's actually the characters. It's the story is pretty cool, and it's just like a really good quality show that happens to have this really weird science fiction aspect to it.
Yeah, and
It's very much secondary to the whole show.
I was a little. How do I put this? I was a little. When they said they were going to be able to make like 6 seasons, isn't that what he said? Like we have 6 seasons planned out. Remember them saying something silly, something crazy like that. I was like, no, you don't. How could you do this for 6 seasons? And here we are on season 4, and 4. Oh yeah, we've gotten to season 4's next.
Yeah, they've set it up for season 4.
Yeah, and I don't know. I actually have like some. We'll talk about season 3, but I have some I don't know about season 4.
Well, see, I didn't know about season 3 either.
All right, so what's your gut reaction to season 3?
Oh, I loved it. It's much better than last season.
Oh, you think so?
I do. It's maybe not as good as the first. Maybe it is. I have to watch the first again, I think. But this one, halfway through this season, it clicked with me, and I was like, this is fucking incredible.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked it, then bam, loved it.
All right. Okay. There are aspects of this season that I liked more than any other season in Stranger Things, but there was also some parts where I thought this is definitely more entertaining than good at this point.
Okay. Well, what parts do you think? Just like give me an example.
Like when they're going through the underground layer was my favorite.
Really?
Favorite. Yeah, that was my favorite. So if we divvy this up,
I would have banked on that being your least favorite.
No, if we divvy up into storylines, the Russian layer and all that was my favorite storyline for sure. Every time that came on screen, I was hooked.
Yes. Agree,
I
me too.
also was like, this is so silly. so the entertainment was through the roof, but I was like, what are we doing here?
See,
But the
that's-
whole thing is ridiculous. It's demigods and stuff. So it's like, I don't know.
See, the whole Russian underground thing is where it clicked with me that I loved it, because I'm watching it and I'm thinking, fucking Russians, they're really throwing this down there. It's weird. They don't explain what they're really doing or what their purpose is. They don't explain why. Like, how did the Russians just show up? But then I'm going along with it because it's entertaining, like you said. But then it just clicked with me that it's not only just set in the 80s. This is just basically as an 80s show if it were, like, written today. And back in the 80s, all the 80s shows were like, oh, Russia, man. That's all you need to know. They're the bad guys.
So there was like a behind the scenes podcast that I read and tuned into a little bit, and he said like he almost doesn't like how cyclical it is that like Russians are in the news again, because he wanted it to be the 80s aspect like you were talking about. And then they almost felt like, this is too topical. We don't want it to be topical with Russia being the enemy and all this stuff.
Yep.
They did want it to just be like 80s. Like, what was everyone scared of in the 80s? Russians.
See, that's exactly. So, like, originally I was like, yeah, it might be a little bit topical. This is kind of weird. I mean, there's Russians. There's a lot going on with it right now. But then once it clicked, I was like, this is just what 80s were.
Yeah.
This is the big bag. This is Khal Drago, right?
Yeah.
This is everything. So once I grasped onto that part, I was like, okay, I'm 110% on board.
I loved the mall aspect, like even how it was driving other like stores out of town, and
I loved it.
Like there were like all the conspiracy with the mayor, like buying up land, and just the mall in general. And I had this weird sense of like nostalgia for something that I didn't experience, like because by the time I was a kid, malls were kind of gross. Like if you hung out at the mall, you weren't cool. You didn't go to, like, when I was a little kid, I didn't go to the mall just to hang out in middle school.
Oh, I did.
Did you? But
Yeah.
it might have been different. But, like, this was
We
so
had-
cool. Like, they were like, let's just go to the mall and walk around and hang out.
Yeah, that's what
that
we
wasn't
did.
for me. Oh, so I'm jealous of you then.
It was awesome. We go down. My little routine was go in the door, go check out lids, then go walk around the food court, get the Chinese chicken for free, little samples. Then walk down to the Sam Goodies. Then go down, check out Hot Topic and Spencer's, and then go home.
All right. So, yeah, I kind of did that a little bit. But, and maybe this is just the show, like when they shot in the mall, like all the extras, it was just like a party. Like there was just like people that went to the mall just to be at the mall, where now, even nowadays, I feel like you go there, you do your stuff, you leave. Like mall
Yeah.
rats kind of were fading by the time in like the early 2000s, I feel like.
Yeah, people who like just sat there and like just sat at the kiosks and like talked and didn't do anything. That's weird. We didn't do that, but like we would go in a group and like it was constantly moving. There was no like sit. If you did sit down, it was at the food court.
Yeah, but I
Like
think
every- like everyone
the
does.
way they depicted the malls here, I was like, man, that seems like an awesome time.
It does.
Like imagine like there was no malls in this mall and you're like, oh shit, they got everything.
And I know you were supposed to feel bad for the Main Street, like everyone going out of business. But I mean, you saw Joyce's store. Me, I'm thinking like you got stagnant. Your store sucks. You had a jack-o'-lantern out on the thing in the middle of July.
Oh, I love
You
this.
don't know how to run a store.
I love the scene when they got like their photographs taken, and they're
Yeah.
all, and like that's so nothing
80s.
now. But you would go because to a professional photographer and just take fun shots.
Professional photographer.
Guy with a camera that's at the mall, but now it's just selfies. It was just like wow, that's how it was. That's crazy.
No, I didn't even know. Didn't even put that together. You're exactly right. That was them taking selfies.
Yeah, it was like dressed up fun selfies with filters and stuff, but they were at the mall.
That's awesome. Yeah, just seeing Elle like smile and be a girl for once, it was amazing. It
Yeah.
made my heart so happy watching that from
All right.
this fake TV character.
Well, speaking of them growing up a little bit, I might come off as a jerk here.
Please do.
I don't like Mike.
What? Well, no, you're in the strong majority. Fuck Mike.
Okay,
Mike is the worst.
all
He's
right.
uncomfortable to look at.
I don't know. I'm not in tune with because this is bingeable, and I was like, I just stay away from everything. I don't want spoilers or anything, so I don't know the common consensus on these characters. Mike's not
I mean,
liked.
I don't think. I mean, I speak entirely for myself. I don't. You know me. I don't look at the news anymore.
And it was
I'm in a
also
bubble
like
now, but
it
I
was-
strongly feel he is uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah. And same with Will.
Will's, I mean, I feel bad for Will because I know he's that kid everyone knows that is just like the nerd who's uncomfortable in his own skin. But Mike is just a douchebag, and he's ugly, and he's weird.
Okay. I'm glad we
But
agree.
but Will is likable in the fact that he is like he's helpless.
When he like destroyed his Fort Myers or whatever his
Oh,
name is,
so
that was so
sad.
sad. Coming of age, but
Did you think that that's that little line of him is like I know you don't like girls? Was that supposed to mean like he's gay? Because that got some talk.
oh, I don't know. I
Did you
didn't.
not-
I didn't
you-
think of anything of it. But is that what people think it's leading there? I mean, I
I
thought the
thought-
whole thing was he was still a kid and they found girls. Now
It was.
I don't
'cause
relate.
It came right back to back with the girl Robin coming out as a lesbian.
Oh,
So it was two moments. Bam, bam.
I don't know.
I don't
I-
think so, but it left a question there.
I don't relate to Will at all because I had I was always the girlfriend kid. Like I found girls way before my
Oh
friends.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
cool kid.
Yeah, so
Oh, I was always a guy with a girlfriend.
still in my 30-year-old brain, I'm like, Will, you're a loser, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Quit crying about playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. I never hung out with kids watching cartoons. I never watched cartoons in my life. I didn't go to the mall hang out. I just had a girlfriend.
Yeah, I was pretty cool until college, or maybe like high school.
You settled down with you settled down to being an average person early
Yeah.
on.
Middle school, I was pretty cool.
Yeah. You sure?
Kinda. I wasn't playing Dungeons and Dragons and crying about my friends leaving me for girls. I was leaving my friends for girls.
Wow. Okay.
Boom.
I wasn't playing Dungeons and Dragons either. I didn't even hear that till like high school.
Boom. I was the coolest guy ever.
Jesus Christ.
No,
Okay.
Will sucks, and he wasn't part of the first season, and I don't think that his acting chops are up, and I think they try to use him as little as possible. They also gave
Yeah.
him such a rude haircut. I know they're trying to do the 80s and stuff, but I can't even look at his hair. It's so rude.
I think that I'm squeaking again. I think they did that intentionally with Mike and Will to show that they are losers because it's the '80s and they gave him '70s haircuts. I
Yeah.
think that's show that they're like way behind times and they're like out of touch.
Will's hair is tough to look at.
It's not even close as Mike's. Mike's is so much worse.
So they gave all the characters I love, which is Dustin and Steve, I think that have radiating personalities and a charisma about them, and they put them in one storyline. So I loved the Scoops Ahoy troupe. I loved it. Steve's so likable. The new girl, Robin, so likable.
Love her.
And those four are the most likable out of the kids in the whole show. Elle is interesting, but she's not endearing to me.
She's not. She's really fading to the background of this season 2.
Yeah.
She was not number one at all. She was number one.
No. Yeah, and then
What can I ask you? When did you know you loved Robin?
when she would just got into the code breaking with them.
Okay, when she put up the tally of him failing against
Oh,
the
that
girls.
was good. That was good.
That was like, oh, this girl, she's got it.
Actually,
Love her.
when Dustin came back and she was like, "How many kids do you know?"
Yes,
So
almost instantly. She won the screen.
this season was really imbalanced for me character wise because all the characters I liked were in one storyline.
Yeah,
Nancy's cool. I actually
Love
really
Nancy.
like Max. Max is spunky and Lucas is fun, but Mike doesn't do anything for me. And then, dude, this is mean. Steve, that's a bad casting job. That actor that plays Steve is
Really?
so dull, no charisma.
I disagree.
Are you rooting at the end of the season when Steve and Nancy kiss? Are you rooting for? I'm rooting for them to break up, for Nancy to go find someone that's not drab.
Oh, that's not Steve, you dumbass. That's not Steve.
Oh,
You're talking about Will's brother.
yeah. Sorry.
See,
I like
Steve.
Steve.
We love.
I love
we love
Steve.
Steve.
I love Steve.
was-
I got
was
the
gonna-
name wrong. I got
I was
the
gonna
name
get
wrong.
very angry with you.
No, I got the name wrong.
Lucas. No, that's not right.
No, not Lucas.
Jonathan Byers.
Yes.
Jonathan sucks.
Nancy's boyfriend.
Yes.
But I think it's just bad casting. That dude can't light up a screen for his life. It just
Well,
kind of.
he was never meant to. In the first season, he was cast perfectly as the introvert photographer.
I know, but now they're I feel like we're supposed to
They
be
try-
rooting for him and Nancy. Are there people that
They-
root for John and Nancy? John's terrible. He's
No,
so
I'm
boring.
rooting for Nancy to marry me. I love her.
Yeah, need
Doesn't
Nancy.
belong with John.
Need Nancy to break up. Like when they kissed at the end, I was like, I don't like this. I'm not interested in this at all.
Not at all, man. I mean, thank God he's moving away. He's gone.
Yeah, and then I like the third storyline, Hopper and Joyce. Love Hopper. You can't dislike Hopper.
No.
Joyce is kind of wild. I don't know how I feel about her, but I'm
yeah,
interested.
she's up and down. I mean, if she wasn't tied with Hopper, I think I'd like her a lot less.
So then Alexei and
Smirnoff.
and then the other guy he's funny. I can't think of his name right. What was his name in this? The friend with the beard. He's in a lot of things.
He's the conspiracy theory guy.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff that I like. I can't think of his name right now.
I'm gonna find it. Don't you worry.
But anyway, I like that crew. So basically, whenever they went to which I thought was the meat of the show, really, the Nancy and Mike and Elle crew, I was kind of like, let's go back to the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But
At what point did you like dawn on you that the kids weren't together?
At one point, I think it was episode 2 or 3, I was like, fuck, Dustin's not going to be with the other kids, like, ever. And then I felt bad for the actor that plays Dustin because, like, on set, he was never with those dudes. They
I know.
probably filmed at other times. And they were, like, probably really good friends from season 2.
So you felt bad for him as a real person?
As a real person, I felt bad for the actor that plays Dustin. You know when I did? This is so... Will was looking at the old pictures, and he was looking at the old pictures of good times with his friends, and he looked at the pictures of all of them dressed up as Ghostbusters, the opening shot from season 2, and I felt bad for Dustin in that moment, not Will. The actor that plays... I was like, he's not with all his friends. Granted, he was with the other people, but... And Lucas's sister rocketed up to... I like her, too. I loved the underground Russian story.
Oh, the little girl?
Yeah.
Oh, she was electric.
Yeah.
I was her.
Erica.
I was her when I was a little kid going after the samples, but I wasn't going after ice cream. I was going after the Chinese chicken.
Oh, yes. Back and forth. More and more, please.
No, I had a stack of toothpicks in my pocket because I didn't like throwing them out because I felt rude about it. People would throw them on the floor. I'd have to wait for a trash can.
All right. What else? I mean, the opening scene at the pool with Billy becoming the host, basically, and like recruiting and the other lifeguard and almost going to hook up with Mrs.
Oh yeah, Wheeler.
Mrs. Wheeler at the beginning.
That was nice. I like that. It did it for me, even though she's older and kind of be weird. Just that whole scene.
Yeah. I mean,
It was interesting.
she seems too young to be Nancy's mom.
She's got some age on her. She's just a very, very pretty lady.
Yeah, I guess so. What do I
See
know
her
her
father?
from? What's that?
See her father?
Yeah, I don't get it.
That's a mismatch. But also, that kind of makes sense because Nancy's dating the dud Jonathan.
Yeah. How much did the Nancy stuff, I'm just remembering it, with the newspaper crew and the boss and all that, how much did that come into play? Was that just filler at the beginning of the season?
Maybe. I think that tied into 80s TV. You know?
I'm trying to think
that was more setting the scene. That was setting her up to be like...
Did she ever get payback for them being terrible in the end? Like when that was
she
happening
killed
in
them,
episodes 1.
technically.
Yeah, but when that was happening in episode 1 and 2, I thought she was going to have her day in like the last episode, and I feel like that didn't come.
Well, it was like pushing her, so they were like the antagonist and getting her to pursue the story.
Yeah.
If they haven't rode her hard, then she wouldn't have gone out of her way to go prove herself.
Okay.
So that's a small thing you can grab onto. Which, by the way, I mean, I know people think it's like sexist and stuff, like with back then with everyone like making fun of people but my God, I would love to work in an office like that. It's just even if I was like the one like getting like picked on every now and then, it just seemed fun.
They're pretty mean.
I mean, they were pretty mean, but I mean, I laughed so hard at those scenes.
Pretty mean. Did you like the Russians being like the whole premise is it never got sealed shut. The Russians found out about it. Now they're going to go to the gate and use it against America or use it for whatever they want. Mm-hmm. I read in the behind the scenes stuff. They said they didn't want to make American government the bad guy again.
Yeah.
So they pivoted to the Russian government. I liked that. I thought it was fun. I loved the underground bunker type shit. It's
I
really
think it makes
cool.
sense too because after the season 2, America, like the government learned their lesson. They hammered that home. They learned.
They
so
closed it up.
if anything was going to happen again, to be accidental or oversight, but the Russians like instigating it, perfect.
And then I don't really understand the Mind Flayer Demigorgon stuff because it's just not my language. Not sure whose it is, but they were
Dustin's.
they were absorbing humans, right?
Yeah.
It was absorbing humans to get bigger. Now those people really died because then Billy
Yes.
like didn't in the end.
The people who broke down and became slop, they died.
They really died in real
Technically,
life.
yeah. So up until that point, they were just hosts for the Mind Flayer. Like, so there was a good point out by New Rockstars. They said that every time that there was a Mind Flayer host, then that person, if it was a guy, had a half untucked shirt. It was kind of like symbolic of it was they're only half there.
Oh,
So that was
cool.
interesting. Yeah. So so they came off as messy and sloppy, but the half tuck was. I love that. So they were still in there 90% of the time. Even Billy, like when he was in the sauna, he was saying he was sorry for things he did. He wasn't in control, so he was just being taken over by this little like virus or whatever. But then when the virus activated and make him go down, and like they went to the little like steel mill and they like slopped, then they're gone.
Yeah. So in season 2, Elle could do that thing where she can go see people other places, right? In all the black.
Mhm. Yep.
That wasn't like a new power they did.
No,
here.
that's how they found the thing in the first season.
Yeah,
Remember,
yeah.
In the gym, she was in that tub with salt and shit. Yeah,
But now she can just do it whenever. She just puts a blindfold on.
yeah. I think now she's learned how to hone her skills.
Yeah. Okay. Because when she did it, and she was spying on the boys, and then they just like flipped to spy, and it landed on Billy, the brother. I was like, that was kind of like too easy. It was like back
Yeah.
to back. I wish they spaced it out a little more. So you're like,
Yeah.
yeah. But
At least like one scene buffer, something. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, but and then all the flashbacks with Billy and the mom getting beat up and catching the wave and all that. I was kind of out on all that.
Yeah, it was okay. I think that was a way that it played at the end for her to break through and get back to Billy before he actually died for real. So that was kind of important for that one little payoff, but it was like 15 minutes worth of content for 30 seconds of payoff, which is kind of backwards.
Did the first or second season have deaths like this one? Like Billy was
Nobody. No,
No,
the
right?
there has never been deaths like this, I don't think.
Because like I was
Not
like, whoa,
gruesome
they
deaths.
really killed Billy. That sucks for that actor. Like his season was weird, and then
His career.
Hopper at the end,
not
whether
dead.
whether he is or not, in the podcast it seems like he is. They're really talking like he is. But in the end scene, they do say not the American. Do you think Hopper is the American locked up?
I do, but they better have a damn good reason why he's alive.
Well, could he have jumped into the gate?
Maybe.
Like
Yeah.
Before it closed, could he have jumped through and then they retrieved him somewhere else or something like that?
I mean, they got the Demogorgon out, so Hopper might have come with them.
So this is where I know I sound like an idiot because I just don't get the sci-fi part of this. Like, and there's some people that are like, no, it wouldn't work like that, and like,
Well, no, there
props
he is
to
because
you.
this isn't real life. So
Yeah. So you think it's him though?
who else could it be? Because they
well,
have
see,
to.
Rusty, who's been DMing me about Stranger Things, he's a huge fan. He thinks it's most likely Hopper, but he thinks it's Dr. Brenner.
Dr. Brenner. His
Brennan
buddy?
from the first season that kind of made Elle. He's supposed to
Oh.
die, but we never saw him die. And then in the
What a
stand
throwback.
in the standalone episode of season 2 with just Elle, one of them tells her Dr. Brennan's still alive.
Well, shit. Okay, that's kind of cool.
But I think it's Hopper. I'd be shocked if they just killed him off. He's like a key part of the whole thing.
Maybe they were trying to go for the whole Game of Thrones aspect where you gotta kill their people.
Yeah.
I mean, they only got 3 seasons left. How much better can Hopper get?
Do they? I mean, is that locked in for 6?
I don't know.
I
just
know
locked
that.
in
I know that
before.
they said like we can do 6. That's at one point.
It's locked in for 4, guaranteed. I know that, but I mean, Hopper, you can't improve upon how good he is right now. So get rid of him.
Nah, I want him back.
All right, this one thing I picked up on. All right, I was watching New Rockstars and they showed me, so I'm not gonna take credit. But this is something you'd love.
All right.
All right, so it's a camera work thing. So when what the hell's her name? Nancy and Jonathan are getting fired at the paper by her boss, who has been mind flayed or whatever. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
He's getting angry. When he turns and he kicks his file cabinet, the whole screen tilts about 15 degrees, and it stays that way for the rest of the time that he's firing them for like another 2 minutes.
Really?
At each time they cut back, the camera is skewed like 15 degrees.
That's
It's
interesting.
so cool. It's so cool. Once they pointed it out,
Why?
I don't know, man, but it was just interesting. It made the whole thing seem like it was out of whack. That maybe ties into thing because he also had the half untucked shirt, so maybe that was part of it. I don't know, but kicking it and then sticking with it,
That's cool. Yeah.
it brings you into the situation.
Yeah. Did you like all the Fast Times at Ridgemont High mentions? Did you catch on to that?
Did not get those.
So Dustin says that his girlfriend Susie is hotter than Phoebe Cates.
Is that Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Yeah, she's the girl that gets out of the pool and is topless.
No, I know, but is that movie?
Yep. And
I thought it was okay, cool.
And then they had Nancy Wheeler, or not Nancy, Mrs. Wheeler, get out of the pool in the same way. Mm-hmm. And then
Yep.
at the end, at the video store, it's a
The cardboard cutout.
cardboard cutout of Phoebe Cates.
Yeah, I picked up on that. I just forgot the name.
Yeah, so that was cool.
I love that. There was a lot of references to The Thing.
Yeah, that
It's
was another one.
Yeah. This is where Dave loves to talk about references back to horror movies.
And what was the other thing? The never-ending story when Susie was real. Were you happy about that?
I loved it. I absolutely loved how Hopper's got his head pressed against the wall, waiting for him to finish his fucking song, and they were. I loved that whole scene. I was just giddy with it.
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid and corny, but I thought they played it off really well. That I was like,
It
that was
played
good.
perfectly.
Yeah.
And now that's a source. I love at the end where they're packing up and Lucas and Max are singing it with him in the room, and it's just to me, it's gonna be a great source of comedy.
Yeah.
I hope she comes back. I hope she becomes part of the next season, Susie.
I think she will, because
She has
they
to.
always introduce new characters. So they apparently the mall was completely fitted with 1980s stuff, like even stores that no one went into, and the Soviet uniforms were like to a T. The uniform, the shoulder straps, the ranks, like it was all like way on point.
Yep. The one
Which
thing
is-
they do well is details.
Which is
Right,
cool, but like who's gonna know that? Like who's watching this? That's not a Soviet strap. Like I don't know.
What are you kidding? Are you kidding me? You do breakdowns of the most mundane details of baseball plays. People live for these details.
I guess so. But if they didn't
You know?
tell me, that, I wouldn't know.
But now but they know they're going to be broken down like frame by frame, and they know that their great little clever details are going to show, and people are going to praise them for it. So why not?
All right, so I said that Rusty, who's a follower and listener and big Stranger Things fan, had a theory. He sent me his theory. I said I'd share it and we'd discuss it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
The American, the Russians say not to grab in the end credits scene. I think it's not Hopper, but Dr. Brenner, the big bad from season 1. We never see him actually get killed. All we see is the monster jump on him, and then it cuts away. So I kind of said this. In season 2, Ep 7, the standalone ep, a man tells Eleven that he is still alive. Now, he's probably just saying that, but what if he wasn't? It would make sense the Russians would need someone who knows about the Upside Down, and what better person than the man who unintentionally opened it?
That's a good theory.
It's not bad.
I like that. I like that theory. I like that better than it being Hopper, because Hopper, they have to explain a lot to make me okay with him still being alive. But having the Dr. Brenner thing, they've already laid the groundwork for him being back.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think it's not bad.
And he's not like a hero by any means. He's not someone we like, but it's still it ties in a loose end as to why the Russians are doing this and how they could even start doing it, because they have him, the guy who started accidentally.
So my thing going into season 4, and they did give us this little thing to build on and get excited about, this little Easter egg or it's cliffhanger or whatever. They also let us know that Elle's powers aren't there anymore. She couldn't get the stuffed animal down. And I think that's going to be super interesting going into the 4th season if for like 4 episodes she doesn't have powers.
Yep.
And just as a normal kid, because, that's different for her. Maybe she likes it, and then the bad thing happens, and now they're like, dude, you need to use your powers. And she's like, no, I don't use them anymore. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
I don't know. You take powers away from Elle, and she's a dud of a person, I think.
I know, but I think that's might be what they're doing. But because I get worried that every season's going to kind of be somewhat rinse and repeat. Like, we go into season 4, and they're like, the gate's open again. You know what I mean?
Like, oh yeah, that little remnant that was in her leg, that's crawled in the sewer. Now it's a snake. That kind of stuff,
Yeah, that's what I
There's
don't
always
want
weird
to
little
happen.
loose ends. I know. Do you think? Okay, why do you think she lost her powers? Why do you think because it happened after the thing got ripped out of her leg, right?
I think
That was
I don't know. I don't really understand any of that
I know,
aspect of the show.
I'm asking the
so.
wrong person. I know. But that was the last thing she used her mind on was to rip that thing out. Because then after that, they tried to get the car and it wouldn't work. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm thinking if I'm putting my really geek hat on, it's that thing sucked her powers out.
Yeah,
I don't know. The only thing that makes sense. Nothing makes sense, obviously, but that's the only thing that could have made sense.
Yeah, I have no
She's
idea.
got she's got performance issues.
All right, you want to go to rankings and ratings?
Sure, I think so.
Anything else you need to talk about?
Mm,
Do you like
sure I'll think
Robin? Steve finally saying he likes her, and she says she's lesbian.
I thought that was kind of shitty, actually, because she played it up beforehand like she liked him.
Yeah.
I think they played that one odd. I think I like the fact that she's lesbian and they could be like a team up, buddy up with,
Yeah, I like
like
that.
them
It's
better
not,
as a
I
team.
like that it wasn't gonna be romantic. Part of me, and I don't know if this is not kosher to say, part of me loves that shows that children need characters like this.
Of course.
Need characters to relate to, and it's just so much better than when we were kids and it was still taboo, and even every generation get better. Another part of me thinks sometimes they're shoehorned in. They seemed like there was no hints along the way, but apparently the Duffner brothers knew she was lesbian from the start. They wrote boobs on her shoes and drew boobs as an Easter egg, but they never
Really?
told the actor. And I feel like they should have
Should have.
told her. So they
They should
just
have.
needed a couple more hints so that the audience was questioning it along the way, because it felt like we were Steve. It would have felt cooler if we were her when we found out, because it felt like they just did it.
Yeah, because it's played off of her telling him how she sat behind him in school, didn't notice, and she looked at him, and she was obsessed with him. That's a weird thing to say if you're not interested in him in the least bit.
Yeah. Oh,
I
we
don't know.
didn't talk about the funniest scene involving them when he was like, "I work for Scoops Ahoy." He kept
Who
knocking
do you
him
work
out.
for?
Like, why would I lie? Look what I'm wearing. That was awesome. And then when they were on the laughing gas, that was really funny. I thought
Yep.
it was done really well.
He gave Dustin's full name and address.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the vents, man.
Yeah, that was really
And at
well
the end,
done.
he's like, yeah, and you can't go home. I told him your whole thing.
Yeah, I love that. All right, let's go to ratings. We do popcorn first, which is
Yeah.
out of 5 stars. Now, if anyone's interested, our cumulative rating for Stranger Things season 2 was 5 popcorns, 91.8 critical. So we'll see how this one goes, and you can go first.
Okay, I think we're pretty much in agreement for popcorns. It's gonna be a 5.
Yep, I think this was a 5 as well. This had everything I wanted. It felt like Stranger Things. I enjoyed very much that it was set in the summer and it was a little different. And then I really enjoyed when they did 3 months later and it was like fall again, and we got to see the Stranger Things world we were used to
Yep.
for a little bit.
Everything was great. Now, obviously, ratings are going to be high because if they weren't high, we wouldn't be doing this. Because TV shows are tough to get through because it's a lot more time commitment. So we do these things because they're great. if Stranger Things 2 is 92%, I gotta give it a 94.
Okay.
It's just a little bit better, I think.
All right.
And I don't want to give it like a 99 because that'd be weird.
I am going lower to an 89.
Okay.
I felt like this one was more entertaining than good.
Really? Okay.
Like if this was the first season, I don't know if everyone says you have to watch this. I think you'd be like,
Yeah.
it's not for everyone. It's pretty out there. The
Well,
first
'cause
one
it's
was
a
pretty out
chapter.
there. The first one was pretty out there, but there was enough of like, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
felt like it was more tight. This one's like, and I get it. They're growing the world that
Yep.
they've created, so it's going to get more and more and more, and that's just how shows go, really. But I thought,
Yeah, I mean you can't compare the first and the third season because without the first, the third doesn't happen clearly.
Exactly,
So they
but-
they piggyback off of that all right, the audience is grounded, so we don't have to get into nearly as much details before.
I felt like a lot of the stuff in the first 2 episodes didn't come into play in the end.
Okay.
And Mike sucks, and John.
Mike sucks. Mike sucks so much, but I mean that didn't take away critically. That just made me more intensely passionate about the show. Like I got invested in like get away from him, hang out with Max more, see anyone but this guy. He's an abusive man.
I dump your ass. Sometimes she spoke completely normal. Other times she spoke like a robot.
Yeah, I think her issue was with like past tenses and stuff.
Yeah, maybe. There's probably some structure to it because it's pretty organized. But yeah, sometimes I was like, that sounded like a normal person. And other times she was like, me?
Yep.
Walk? I was like, wait, what? I thought you could talk fine now.
You're right. It did go back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. What does
Okay,
that?
cool.
What does that average out to?
89 and 94 is at 92 and a half.
All right.
Doing that right?
92.5. That's still higher than the first time, right?
Yep, 91.8.
Well, there you go. I didn't ruin it. And Dave, our third, isn't here, but we should ask
Give it-
him. He's in Cancun, right?
We should have asked him. God damn it.
Yeah.
We will ask him and we'll factor it in.
Yeah, we do a headliners episode, Hollywood Headlines, every Friday. And if you tune in next Friday, Dave should be here, and we'll ask him. He can give us like a 5-sentence recap in his grade. And then we'll factor in. If he wants.
He'll do way more than 5 sentences.
Yeah, but we'll say 5 so we can only do 10.
Yeah, he'll do 15. He'll talk for 15 minutes if he can.
And then we'll talk, and you and I will rebut, and then it'll basically be Stranger Things 3 recap part 2. So tune into Friday's episode.
Let's maybe skip it. I don't know. So
Tune into Friday's episode of Headliners for that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. Go listen to us on the podcast app, any app, Six Pack Cinema. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the app, we have a YouTube. If you want to watch, give us a 5-star rating and review if you enjoyed. We have a back catalog of 90 movies and shows that we've done over the last 2 years. So if there's anything
crazy.
else we've seen that you enjoyed or you hated terribly and you want to see what we thought, go check it out. We thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a great day.
bye-bye.